Hello. Hello. I'm for Sean. I've got a problem. Oh. How's everybody doing? Good? Good. I'm doing good. I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I haven't been on a vacation. Like, when I say vacation, I'm getting on an airplane, which I do quite often, but very rarely, if ever, do I get on an airplane and just go somewhere for enjoyment without work. I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm going to Maui. By the time this comes out, I will have been there, but I'm talking to you now, so it doesn't matter. I'm excited about that. 5 days, 4 nights, in lovely Maui in Hawaii. So I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna snorkel on Molokini in 2 days. I'll be in Molokini, which is a dormant, I think it's dormant or maybe extinct volcano that's in the water, only the very top rim of it sticking out. And you can snorkel around there. I've always want to do that, so that should be cool. I don't know how much reef is in there or relief, but I think there's like sea turtles. As long as I see some sea turtles when I'm snorkeling, I'll be good. So I'm in a good mood. Anybody that has joined the podcast recently, thank you for being here. The new people listening and watching on YouTube, please subscribe, rate, comment. And if you want to come see me live, forrestshaw.net. I'm currently in Florida. I am about to do McCurdy's Comedy Club in Sarasota, Florida. I will be there all week, October 29th through November 2nd is what I want to say. I'm just guessing. I'm not even looking at my website. That's how good I am. But if you go to my website, all my shows are there. So the week after this, I will be in, at a Comedy Inn in Miami, November 6th and 8th. One of the best clubs in America. It's in Miami, Florida, the Comedy Inn. My buddy Mike Levine. November 12th and 13th, Snappers Comedy Club in Fort Myers, Florida. November 14th and 15th, Sad Man Comedy Cafe in Boca Raton, Florida. November 19th through the 22nd, Comedy Key West in Key West, Florida. And then I will be in December. I'm doing some shows, don't tell shows, I think in Fort Lauderdale and Delray Beach and stuff. I'll be in Ocala, Florida at the Marion Theater on December 6th. Got to get people to come out to that. Need to fill that up. Be promoting that heavily. And then December 19th through 20th, I'll be at LOL Club in Winter Haven, Florida. December 26th to the 28th, I'll be at Side Splitters in Wesley Chapel, Florida, just north of Tampa. And January 2nd and 3rd, Gregory's Comedy Club in Cocoa Beach. I think. Check my website, forrestshaw.net. All the shows are on there. And while you're on there, go to the podcast page. If you feel like donating to the podcast, click it in there. Give me some bucks. I'll use it for the podcast. And if you feel like calling in, I got a phone number, 305-JOE-RANG. Send a text, make a call, ask a question. You can email me as well. Or you don't have to do any of that. You can just think of it psychically, and I will receive that energy and probably think I have a headache and that I'm dying and I won't know what's going on. Anyways, let's get to the guest. Today I have comedian Mike Glazer on. I'm really happy he did the podcast. I saw he posted a few weeks back about how he had 90 days completely sober. And I was like, let's have somebody on that's more recently completely sober, at least. I think that would be interesting. And he had good energy. Sometimes people are like, that have been sober for 20, 25 years, whatever. They have a lot of wisdom and interesting things to say, but they're just kind of like, yeah, I've been doing this a while, versus like that new energy, which I really appreciate and like, and I think is very useful and effective for people to listen to. So I'll see you on the other side. My guest today is Mike Glazer. He's a comedian and he's been featured in the Netflix as a Joke Festival, South by Southwest, Outside Lands. He wrote on Night of Too Many Stars and received an Emmy nomination for that. You can find him online on Instagram at Glazer Boo-hoo-hoo. It's hard to say. TikTok at Glazer Jokes. They didn't have Glazer Boo-hoo on TikTok?
I just hate it. So I'm trying not to use it anywhere else.
And YouTube at Glazer Boo-hoo-hoo. So Glazer Boo-hoo-hoo, Instagram and YouTube, TikTok, Glazer Jokes. You can go in there and try and change it, can't you?
Well, last time I changed it, I tried to change it. It let me change it to the CIA, like literally CIA. And I was the CIA on Instagram for a month and it destroyed my life. So I'm just going to live with it.
What? What? That-
Yeah, man.
I
You can
mean,
just change your name and they let me change it to CIA. And because I'm verified, I couldn't change it back for 30 days. So I just leaned in and changed my profile picture to the CIA logo. And then the Epstein files, it got Cash Patel said, there's no such thing as the Epstein file. He's just a guy. Epstein is just a chill dude who owns an island. Relax, everyone. And then my DMs got flooded with people being like, I have information. How could you do this? I trusted our country. And I was like, I'm not the CIA, man. I'm literally a comic. This is my worst nightmare.
oh my God. So the CIA is available out there again, I think. Somebody
Yeah,
wants to grab it. Ruin your
grab it
life.
up.
Go check out Mike. He's on the road. I think you're on the road a lot. I was looking. You got a bunch of dates. Really funny comic and support comics. That's what we always say on here.
Yeah,
I'll ask you the question. I ask everybody on the podcast. What's your problem?
I'm a liar and a manipulator and an addict, an alcoholic, um, and incredibly hard on myself. If you can't tell,
Liar.
yeah.
Liar right off the bat is
Come
rough.
on, let's get into it. It's true though. You know what I mean? Like, addiction and alcoholism. It all. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to people around you. You're trying to maintain a sense of control. Um, when you're barely hanging on to any threads that are left, and then it's a cycle of that. So yeah, I think lying to myself and others is a big one for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm a compulsive gambler, or gambling addict, and I've done a lot of lying when it comes to my addiction. And one of the problems too is is that once you've decided you're going to be more honest with yourself and honest with people, people don't necessarily trust you because you've been lying, you know?
Yeah.
And you have to remember that because I'm currently in this moment. I'm not speaking to them. They're not speaking to me. We got into a argument last time I saw them. And I understand why they thought maybe I was lying about something, but I wasn't. And it roots back all with all my gambling stuff, you know? And so it's just one of those things you kind of have to, I think, be understanding with and live with. But I also feel like, yeah, it's just tough to get trust back. Yeah. So, but
Totally, especially like, right now as we're doing this podcast, I'm only a little over 100 days in full sobriety, like no alcohol, no weed, no molly, no mushrooms, no acid. Um, and I don't hate, what's a better word for it? My material on stage isn't what I want to be talking about anymore. Like a lot of my stories are just like crazy drug stories and being the CIA and, failing upward and having these crazy moments happen. And now I'm like, well, I want to preface all of that with like, this is what used to happen. But now I'm telling like stories of the past and my world has gotten kind of small. So I'm not even sure what I want to talk about on stage with this like new version of me that's so much more clear. And so it's like even on stage, I feel like a liar right now
yeah.
because I'm telling tales that are no longer who I want to be. So
Yeah. I mean, this is not the same, but it's the same far as comedy is. I've lost about 70 pounds and, I need to lose probably another 50. I was really heavy about the beginning of this year and for a while too. And I just wasn't seeing it or dealing with it. And I would say the first 20 minutes of my headline set was just like fat, food, this, that, whatever. I still make a joke now that like I lost a lot of weight and you just met me. So it's not that impressive because I'm still heavy. Like I'm still at least 50 pounds overweight. But to me, I feel really thin. So just personally in my brain, I don't want to talk about that because I'm still actively, doing the things I need to lose weight, working out, eating correctly, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be like, I'm a fat piece of shit. Cause I'm like, no, I'm trying to, and so it's, cause even though you're still dealing with, you're new to like total sobriety, like you said, it's like, it does bother you on stage for sure. I mean, at least bothers me. So I'm assuming it
yeah,
bothers me. Yeah.
definitely.
Um, and thank you for doing the podcast, by the way. I reached out to you because I saw you had a clip. You think you were going to Alaska and you were worried about going there because
It's
I've never been to
awesome.
Alaska, but everything you said, it seems like Alaska is an addict's nightmare or fantasy, depending on what side of addiction you're on, or paradise.
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I haven't had a lot of people that are this like that short of time and lately, like you said, complete sobriety. So I appreciate you coming on during that.
Well, even my sponsor said, normally you wouldn't be doing the life that you're doing right now while you're also doing all this other stuff to stay clean. Like, normally you wouldn't go right back into the dragon den and be like, does any dragon want to fight while I'm incredibly soft, vulnerable, and scared? Like, please get at me. But, it's our job and it's what I'm doing to make a living. So, like, it is what it is. But man, Alaska for me, this is my fourth or fifth time there, and it rules. But it rules in all the ways that are not sustainable. Like the last time I was there, I missed my flight home. I got an Airbnb for an extra 3 days and just went on a bender, just an isolated bender in an Airbnb in the woods where I was like, no one knows where I'm at. No one can stop me. I've got everything I need to pretend like I'm going to write the next great American novel. And instead, I'm going to listen to live Tool albums on YouTube and fall over, and just really pretend I'm figuring it out and I'm an artist. And so, but there's also all these great stories of Alaska because it truly is freedom, man. Alaska, the people there work insane jobs, dangerous jobs, well paying, hard jobs. They want to see great comedy. They can take a fucking joke. They know what it's like to be a human being and look other people in the eye and, live through some shit. And you can also party as hard as you want, 24 hours a day, 365, whether it's dark all the time or light all the time. You will always find the people you're looking for. And that can either be good or bad.
Yeah. I'm from Miami, which I believe is like the southern version of that. So like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
dude.
if you want to find a problem, you can find it. No, but yeah. So
Oh, wait, I'll tell you, maybe this is a good Miami, Alaska story.
sure.
Not this time I was there but the last time I was there, when we were on a bender, like right after the late show, we just kept going. And it was like, we started during the early show. Late show ended up just being a party where everyone's just buying us shots. We're buying them shots and cheersing. And my hour set was mostly crowd work and asking people how they're doing. But everyone had a great time. And then we go out, and by like 3 in the morning, my eyes are swimming in my head. I'm burping. I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know how y'all are going so hard all the time. We did this last night and the night before. And my buddy goes, well, has no one offered you Coke yet? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, dude, that's why we keep going to the bathroom because we're just doing cocaine all day. And I was like, really? And so I was like, oh, maybe that's how Miami is too. You can just keep going.
It, yeah. Miami is, we used to go out at 1 in the morning and then stay out till like 9 in the morning,
Yeah, man.
kind of thing. So and there's always a place open. There's always a bar or an after hours club or something like that. So I think that's part of all these Florida man stories that always come out. I think that's a big part of it is there's a huge chunk of Florida that just doesn't close and
Yeah.
the weather's great. And there's, people from all around the world there, shady and not shady, but lots of shady people. So yeah.
Yeah, but how does that work with gambling addiction where it's not about is this bar open still or where's the next spot? Is it like you're gambling on like cricket at 4:30 in the morning because that's the sport that people are playing on the other side of the world? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. So there are casinos everywhere and you can gamble on your phone. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like whatever. The gambling is everywhere. When I was, when I figured out how to gambling problem, I was in college in central New York at Ithaca College. Like I had done very little gambling up to that point, but a roommate of mine was like sports gambling and I was like, oh, you can gamble on sports. I was like, I just didn't even, it wasn't even in my wheelhouse. And so I started gambling on sports in college and I, you know, was selling drugs. I was selling weed. I had all these people that trusted me. I live in, Tompkins County. which was a famous county at the time for growing marijuana in New York State. And I had a bunch of, growers that like trusted me. And so I would sell their weed and stuff. And so then I had extra money too. So that's where I really started gambling, but I was just through bookies on a phone,
Yeah.
and it didn't seem to really get out of control until I went back to Miami. And then really ramped up what I was doing to where I was like, it just was numbers that I was betting more than I earned in a year in a couple weeks, and
Sports?
then all sports, because there
All
wasn't really any
sports.
casinos around. There was like a shit casino that the Miccosukee Indian tribe owned, but it just wasn't my thing. When I moved to LA, that's when I got into casinos. I stopped gambling for a long time. And then I moved to LA. I got rid of all my support systems, all the roadblocks, all that stuff. And I just like went to a casino, Commerce Casino off I-5 there when you're driving down to San Diego,
Yeah, yeah,
near
yeah.
the outlet malls there. And they have a weird system too, where it's like you have to bet $1 for every $100 that you're betting, because they're technically not supposed to have a casino, but they've made a deal with local tribes that they would be able to, that they'll pay them. It's like they have a bank and it's a really weird, it's normal to me now, but if you come in there, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? It's not like a normal, but started going there, and I know every casino within, a 50-mile radius of LA. And that's where I did all of this damage the last times that I went out, where I was just like, oh, and I did more damage there than I did any time before that. Cause it's like anything, all these addictions, they just keep ramping up and ramping up until,
Yeah.
um, so yeah. So, and when I grew up in Miami, I, I always say this because I've done pretty much every drug, and I've drank and I've abused drugs and alcohol, but I've never had an addiction to them, because I know what an addiction is. And I know there was never a point where I felt like drugs or alcohol were affecting my life negatively. And I don't mean to take over the whole podcast, but I don't know if I've said this from the podcast. I got suspended from a job at one point because I tested positive for cocaine, and I was not doing cocaine. So
Oh
that would be
fuck.
the one thing where I was like, I was not doing drugs, but I still had, in order to keep my job, I had to go to like rehab. I'm not rehab, drug counseling sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my point is like, yeah, I just, luckily for me, drugs and alcohol wasn't a thing. Even though I abused them and like had some moments, it wasn't a thing where I was like, oh, my life is spiraling out of control. I've lost everything. I've got lost, or I'm in danger of, you know, losing everything. So yeah.
Damn, dude. I mean, there is like, I guess it doesn't really matter what the addiction is, the outcome is the same. You know what I mean? Like it's like whether it's gambling or alcohol or anything else, it's like, oh yeah, you do it long enough and you tell yourself it's fine long enough and you end up destroying everything around you. And it's simple as that. Like it doesn't really matter what what choice is being made, it's still gonna fucking get you.
Yeah. I mean, food too is another one for me. Like I was saying.
Same, man. Dude, I'm on a sugar bender right now. I'm gonna cut off both my feet and then I'm gonna caramelize the tops of them and eat them. Like I cannot stop. Yeah.
Yeah. I was up to, before I started losing this weight, I was at 339 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, in LA, I might as well be 600 pounds if you're 339. It's like,
It's true. Yeah.
and, and I knew I was heavy. Like my back hurt, and my clothes, I only had a few items of clothes I could fit, but I just wasn't even really looking in the mirror, being honest with myself. And then once I started losing the weight, I was like, oh my God, like, because I've lost 70 pounds. I still need to lose more, but I feel better. But it's just, it's like you're just saying about it's like, I think at the beginning you're saying that, like, you just don't realize things sometimes until you take a step back and really honestly look at yourself. That's the lying part comes in. So you're not only lying to other people, but I was just lying to myself, because friends would say a few things like, hey, you really need to lose some weight. But then a couple of friends were like, dude, you're fucking fat, bro. You need to like really straightforward. And that actually helped. There was a couple of friends that I was like, thanks for being rude that way. It wasn't really rude. It was kind of what I needed to hear. So,
Yeah. It's how I feel like I always just expected the intervention to come. Like I was like, I'll quit doing everything when my friends care enough that they give me the intervention. But if you're sitting home alone, not talking to anyone while you're doing all of this, well then no one knows it's like, it's like eating two Domino's pizzas and a side of Cinesticks alone. Nobody knows until they see you, and then they're like, "Wow, you look like shit. Like you look gray, sweaty, and like shit." And it's like, "Yeah, dude, I've been alone for 3 days, you know,
Yeah.
napping and jacking off." Like,
Yeah. And the intervention isn't always, a lot of times that's like the last resort, because you can hide stuff when you're an addict. Like you
yeah,
said, you stay alone. You don't show people your full, I don't want to use a gambling term, but your hand. So,
yeah. For
yeah.
me, the food thing is like, especially growing up as a little kid, the most comfort I got outside of like being a hockey goalie was just eating so much that I would fall over onto my side and fall asleep like a fucking cow or something, where you're just like so full that you go, and then you just crash. And that was
Well,
like my daily routine. And I've just carried that over into adulthood. That feeling of like, oh man, I've just got to like be a bottomless pit for all of this until I feel sick. And then I'll know I'm full. And then I'll pass out for 8 hours. And, you know,
yeah, I was on that, the movie Seven. I was on that level. The first body they find, in
uh huh.
Seven, the movie, if
Yeah, the
I'm
spaghetti
sure
guy.
everyone's seen it, but it's David Fincher movie with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And the first body they find, he was fed. The guy's feeding him. I forgot the character's name that what's his name plays Spacey, but he feeds him until his stomach bursts. Like that's how
Hmm.
I was like on the level of eating. Like the last 6 months of me just before I started to like turn the other way. And because people were like, how did you lose the first 40 pounds I lost so quick? How did you lose the first 40 so quick? Because everyone's like, you're on Ozempic and this and that. I'm like, I was so heavy and my eating habits were so unhealthy. Like I was like, it was like almost like I was trying to kill myself with food, literally. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like I would just be in so much pain. I'm like, oh, my stomach's gonna burst. I'm the guy from Seven, but
Wait, are you not going to do Ozempic? Are you against it?
I'm not against it. And what's funny is I'm not against it at all. It sucks losing weight in the Ozempic era because people are like Ozempic because I've lost a lot of weight since April,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, like honestly, the first 40, just drinking water and not eating sugar was like, my body was just like, and thank you. Let's let's just keep doing this. This is what I've been trying to tell you,
Yeah.
with subtle jabs into your lower back. But now it's funny because number one, a couple guests ago, I had a person on that's getting their doctorate, and it was Blaze, his name Blaze Markovich, and he was talking about different treatments of addiction, and GLP-1s is one of the addictions for certain treatments, specifically alcoholism and drug addiction, maybe gambling, but so drugs like Ozempic, and these are things they think might be able to help with addictions, or they have some base data that might support that right now. So not only that, I know this last 40, 50 pounds is going to be harder. And so I've had
Yeah.
a lot of people that are like, just get that thing. And so I'm not against it at all. People that are like, I would never do that. I'm like, why? I've already done so much shit to my body. Like
Yeah.
I'm 52. I don't care about jabbing a needle and squirting something. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna work. I'm
Oh
not against
no.
it. Yeah. Why are you against it? What are your what are your feelings?
I wish that they would figure out how to make your face look less like a zombie when you're on it. That's the only thing, man. Like everyone who's on it, all these celebrities, their faces look like shit. They're just gaunt, skeletal, because you still lose like face fat. And so you just like your cheekbones protrude and you look like skeletal. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Wow.
you know? So it's like, fix the face and then we'll be good. Cause like I just saw Ryan Seacrest and this will probably come back to bite me and it'll turn out he has cancer or something. But I think he's on GLP-1 and I was like, dude, you look awful. Your face looks terrible. So that's my big thing is like your face, you might lose weight and feel better. Maybe you're healthier, but you look worse to me.
Yeah. Right now I've lost so much now. I'm gonna have to actually start working out like more like weight stuff that I wasn't doing. I was doing mostly cardio now.
Yeah.
because I need to tone because I'm getting flabby, But you know what I think with the celebrity? I mean, maybe again, this is all anecdotal data. I don't have any of this data, but most of the celebrities have plastic surgery. So they're
Yeah,
doing
it's
Ozempic
true.
with plastic surgery. So I think the Ozempic highlights the plastic surgery. Is this would be my theory
Interesting.
because there's other people doing Ozempic or whatever. I'm trying to think of the other names, Manjaro or because I think Ozempic, Manjaro, and there's another. There's so many of them now. I know there's different kinds, and they say, well, this one doesn't make your face look like that. But Ozempic is kind of like Uber. It's just the word you use now for it.
Yeah.
And this again is just my theory. Is like all those celebrities that have that face are like doing Ozempic with the plastic surgery, and it's like fucking fucked up. So
Dude, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense.
yeah.
Yeah. You're just
No
seeing the
data to
work.
support this at all, by the way. This is just a theory.
No, no. And there's a doctorate. If you're watching, there's a doctorate behind Forrest that says expert. I mean, this is truth. This is
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because Seacrest has definitely had plastic surgery, right?
for sure. Probably when he was 12. That dude probably knew what he wanted to do his whole life, and he's like, whatever it takes, let's get these cheekbones up.
Those things
No
are worth a
doubt.
fortune now. Yeah. Killing it. So let me get back. So I think I was trying to remember. We met with the podcast. I don't know about that podcast with Jim Jeffries, right? Was that the first time we met or did we meet before that? I mean, I'd seen you at clubs, I think, but I think that was the first time we really had a.
I've definitely seen you perform a lot because I knew who you were well before we got to chat on there. But that was like I think the first time we actually said any words to each other at all was like through those studios. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were a guest on the I don't know about that podcast that I did with Jim Jeffries. And it was you and Mary Jane
Gibson.
Gibson.
Mhm.
Thanks. And for those that didn't watch that podcast, but I think a lot of people on that listen to this one did. uh, it was we had experts on, and you were an expert on weed.
Mhm.
You and Mary Jane were, and so the reason I'm bringing that up is that like you said you're 100 days sober completely. Was that the last thing? Because I don't know your whole background of that. So was you said alcohol, Molly, mushrooms? Like, has alcohol been a lot longer? What is this 100 days? Or like, give me some background on it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the I guess I can start in the middle and then go backwards, but like my first job when I moved to Los Angeles was working for BuzzFeed for this YouTube series called Hi Guys, where I would get so ripped. I would take fucking edibles, bongs, dabs, smoke a joint, and then they would surprise us with activities. And so I got a little like heat and notoriety by doing this series because I got to smoke weed with Snoop Dogg all day, and he took me around his mansion and we talked about art. And I went viral for hanging out with a sloth. So I'd be like walking down Fairfax Avenue near the sneaker shops, and there'd be dudes who were like, "Holy shit, you're that dude from Hi Guys." I'm like, "Hell yeah, I am. Here's some weed. Yo, smoke my weed." And so I became like I had a little bit of momentum because I love weed. I love it. It's unfortunate that it's actually a gateway drug because it's the first thing I smoked and it led to my demise, or it opened those doors. But weed, mushrooms, all of those things, they really helped me financially. I got opportunity from them. I got to meet some of my heroes like Snoop, and everything like that is great until it's not because now I'm performing on stage super high. Everyone wants to dab me out while I'm like my whole life is getting stoned and it's just not sustainable. But it also is like money, opportunity. Los Angeles, it's like, oh shit, like, I have a little niche that I love and the community is awesome. Um, but also uh, I just completely lost who I was, I didn't even I was like there was no clarity at all. And if you mix that with a lot of drinking and a lot of other substances and being like I'm a party guy, maybe that's who I am, is my brand. Like I'll tell you what, dude, this is all over the place, but when I made that post and I was like, yo, I'm sober, da 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 da, I got so many DMs from people who genuinely care, and I understand why they sent it, but they were like, what about your brand? What's your
Mm.
brand now? What are you going to do about your brand? And I was like, okay, one, that's interesting because that means I do have a brand and that brand is drugs and partying. And two, you're coming at it from a business place of being like, I actually care about you and like you. Like, what are you doing? And what are you going to do for yourself? And I was like, damn, that's very curious. That's very interesting, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you remember Angel Salazar? He passed away.
Sure. Yeah, man.
That was one of the first guys I ever hosted for. His brand was definitely that he was on Scarface, and he did a lot of cocaine. He did a
Yeah.
lot of cocaine before he went on stage. And like I said, I grew up in Miami. I'd seen people doing cocaine. I had done cocaine, but it wasn't like a huge drug for me. But I was just like shocked at what he was doing and stuff. And I'm shocked how long he stayed alive, especially that being kind of like his brand is like, I'm the party guy, whatever. But yeah,
And like
so
even like Pablo Francisco, right? Like
yeah,
I loved that dude growing up. And then all of a sudden every video I saw of him was so out of pocket. And then I'd like do shows with him here in LA and I was like, oh, interesting, interesting. It'll all fucking catch up to you one way or another, you know?
yeah, Pablo Francisco is a great example because I remember when his half hour presents came out on Comedy Central, and it was like epic, you know? He's like, he had like jokes, but he could do voices and there's like mic control and just like his, just killing too. And then you would see him perform like in a club and just murder, murder. And he was like on this like rocket ship to like fame. And he was not that he wasn't famous. He still is known. Like he's still well known because he said, but
Yeah.
man, he could have been like the guy, you know, like arena level act. And I don't know if you ever met him. Nicest guy, like super sweet guy, like not a asshole or anything, you know. Like at least my experience with him. And and I just didn't. I felt bad for him because I just think people took advantage of him. They enabled him. They used him. They used his, you know, that kind of and he's still performing. He's still out there, but he's had a rough road and arguably has wasted millions and left millions, if not hundreds of millions on the table because of addiction. Like, honestly, I think
Yeah.
that's
Truly.
where he would have been, you know?
Yep.
Um,
I met him for the first time earlier this year. I was doing a weed show at a dispensary restaurant. It was like a restaurant slash cannabis something or other. And the show, I had to follow Pablo Francisco, who I was like terrified to follow because I was like, oh, this dude's going to be up there like a Tasmanian devil. He's going to be
yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan and just a whirlwind. And then I'm going to have to follow that with my hand in my pocket, not moving around. And then after me was TJ Miller. And
Oh, wow. You
and
really
I
were
was
in
like,
the, it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
addiction show. Yeah.
and and Pablo went up and he did great, but at the same time I was like, oh, I'm not worried about this at all. Like I'm gonna go up and have a really good set. This is gonna be fine. Because there was just something about him and it that felt like, damn, dude, I can't believe I'm here doing this show with you, but also I'm not intimidated by what you're bringing to the table here. The way that I was when I was watching your presents and all of those things, it was just very different to see it in person and be like, interesting. Okay, this is a good thing
I
for
think
me to
he's
mark.
probably is like an athlete that's been injured or something. He's like lost
I think
a lot
so.
of like step.
Yeah,
Same thing with
yeah.
TJ Miller too. I mean, I don't know TJ at all, and I don't know his whole story either, but I know that alcohol or at least is involved in a lot of the unfavorable decisions that have or events that have happened in his life, you know.
That's what
And
I've heard. Yeah, he was super nice to me. We knew each other. Well, no, that's
yeah,
not fair. I knew of him in Chicago because I moved to LA from Chicago, and him, Kumail. I got there right at the time of this generational talent coming out of Chicago. It was like Kyle Kinane, Hannibal, Kumail, TJ Miller, Pete Holmes, Thomas Middleditch, and
wow,
and Lisa Traeger. And I'm sure I'm
wow.
forgetting others, but it was like I got to Chicago and I looked around and I was like, oh, I'm never doing stand up. This is fucking crazy. Look at these motherfuckers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it was awesome. It was awesome to watch them and just be like, wow, that's the bar.
yeah. TJ Miller is all right. Anytime he's been in a TV show or a movie, he's the funniest thing on screen. Always,
Yep.
like he's so talented. I've never really seen his stand up, but he's so funny. I'm sure it's still entertaining, even if he's not, you know, like
It's
kind of like,
hilarious.
yeah. But, uh, and again, I don't want to like speak out of like, I don't really know a lot about him, but I this is the podcast that addiction. So it's just like I think
Yeah.
there's these people like there's other people in that list that are successful that didn't have those kind of issues, And I think Hannibal was sober for a while. I don't know if he is anymore, but I know that he was like kind of with that. But Kumail's obviously and Kyle Kinane. That list is crazy. Those
Isn't
people,
that crazy?
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like, what the fuck? And so, but I guess through all of that, I know, yeah, I don't know much here. I can tell you a bit like for my background. So we're not talking out of pocket on people who I'm not friends with. So I don't know their life. But like for me, um, I grew up, I was the little fat kid. My nickname was Mario growing up because my first name is Mike, but there was a bunch of Mikes, but I was a little fat kid with an afro. So everyone's like, "You're Mario." And I was like, "Awesome, I'm Mario." And and then I found hockey, and that was like my identity for the first 25 years of my life. Because I ended up being the best roller hockey goalie in the country. We couldn't afford ice hockey; it was so expensive. Everything about it was crazy. Rink rental, but I could play on the streets and I could play in these leagues. And I ended up being a really good roller hockey goalie. And there's a bunch of stories within that, but for the sake of this podcast, what I'll say is like, but by the time I was 14, 15 years old, I was on a men's touring roller hockey team. We would play at a rink called Saints, and Saints doubled as an underground music studio where Nelly and all of these other musicians were all making beats and smoking blunts and hanging out, making country grammar while I'm playing roller hockey next to them. And then my team, the Guns, go figure, the fucking St. Louis Guns is their name. We had an AR-15 across our jersey, just a real St. Louis, Missouri squad. Um, we got sponsored by the strip clubs in East St. Louis, Diamond Cabaret and PTs. So I'm like a 14, 15-year-old guy hanging out in champagne rooms after games. All of our fans are strippers. I'm on a men's team where everyone is partying with per diem, going to the strip clubs, hanging out, and that's my friend group in high school. So I fell into weed right away. The pressures of being the best goalie I could be while I'm still going through puberty, not knowing how to make friends my age, feeling like I had to save everyone and be everything. Weed was a huge way for me to help with that pressure. And then that leads to getting a fake ID. That leads to drinking really early, getting expelled from school my senior year, selling a bunch of weed. And then by college, I'm at a small town Missouri school where MTV is filming True Life. I'm addicted to meth about an hour outside the school. And me and my dorm neighbor, whose name I'll leave out, but he had an alligator. And that was interesting. Uh,
Don
we
Johnson
were.
from Miami Vice. Oh,
We were selling opium, red rock and black tar opium to all of the meth heads, because then you got to fill that niche of like everyone's coming down off their bender, and then you've got to mellow it out. So we would sell opium and weed. You'd roll that sticky black tar in a bunch of keef, load your bong. So I'm just like drinking nonstop. I'm smoking opium. I'm selling a bunch of it, and I'm playing roller hockey, and I'm in college, and I've just taken my high school years and my middle school years, just carried it over into my 20s, where it's the same shit, man. Drugs, women, booze, partying, roller hockey, all these things. And the story I kind of tell, because it's true, is one night on opium, I think we drank a bottle or two of Jack, definitely smoked at least a quarter sack of weed, smoked a bunch of opium, and my homie fell asleep in his chair. And so I went back to my room and I was like, I have all this energy. I don't know what to do with it. I'm a party. I'm a man. I like to feel something. And so I took a piercing needle and I took out my tongue ring and I pierced my dick with my piercing needle, listening to the Insane Clown Posse Chicken Hunting. And then I put the tongue ring through my dick piercing and then passed out and fell asleep, passed out. Woke up the next morning with my phone ringing and blood running from my sack down my leg and just bruised up and hung over. And it was the Team USA Olympic Committee calling and asking me to come to Lake Placid, New York, to the Olympic Training Center because roller hockey might be a summer Olympic sport. And in the meantime, they're going to start doing tryouts for the Pan American Games. So in 2 or 3 months, we're going to fly you to Lake Placid, New York to try out for Team USA in case it becomes an Olympic sport. And I was like, fucking great. I should probably stop doing all this and take this dick ring out. And so I'd stopped smoking weed. I stopped smoking opium. The only thing I did was drink because drinking, you can get out of your system quick. You know what I mean? You just chug Gatorade, you go hit the treadmill, lift weights, play soccer, play hockey, sweat it out, all good, clean out so I can pass an Olympic drug test. And I made Team USA. Um, and I made it to the Pan American Games. And it was me and a bunch of men, and we're playing, representing our country in Argentina. And we're playing against Canada, Mexico, Argentina, South America, all these places. And we won a gold medal with Team USA. So I have a gold medal. I think it's right there
Oh yeah,
for being with Team USA.
there's 2 medals there,
Yeah, the other one is for the USA Championships gold medal.
and that's
Um,
your hockey mat. That was your goalie mask.
that was my first goalie mask ever. Yeah,
Nice.
it says donut on the back because I'm Glazer, and so, but after that, after we won a gold medal with Team USA, it didn't go to the Olympics. They took mixed doubles badminton instead of roller hockey to give you an idea where we are in popularity as a global sport. And
I've been pretty popular in Asia. I know
it's fucking huge. And if you've ever seen it live, it's incredible. It's
yeah.
so fast. So, like, at the end of the day, they made the right call, probably.
I personally
Uh,
would probably want to see roller hockey, but when you do see Olympic badminton, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I wasn't playing badminton when I was a kid. Whatever this is intense.
yeah, dude, when we were at the Olympic Training Center, bobsledding was there, skeleton, badminton. There was a bunch of other sports there because we'd all meet in the commissary and all hang out. And we'd go watch each other practice. And the badminton people, their legs are so big and they're so fast with that shuttlecock. It was unbelievable. It was like, the sound the air made sounded like a Mach 1. The way they were hitting that thing, it was unreal. So
By the way, shout out to that. You were almost like on a run-on sentence there for the like from where you
mm,
started in your dorm room to where you got to the Pan American Games and Olympic tryouts and all that stuff was you were saying words that it would be like a random word generator putting together. You're like opium, dick piercing, blood, sack, Olympics. It was like, I was like, what's God, this isn't real, is it? But um
it's real.
but that's still an amazing like just even though they didn't select your sport, what an experience that all was.
Yeah, I think so. And if I tell, you can tell those stories two ways. You could tell that story of like, I played for Team USA. I didn't play good against Argentina. I was, wrung out and not great and feeling bad and horny the whole time and trying to hook up with well, we all were. That's not just me. But you can either tell the tale where it's like, I'm really proud. I dedicated my life to hockey and I won a gold fucking medal because I was goddamn good
Yeah.
at it. I was great at it, in fact. And the flip of that is, how good can you be when you are disciplined in your life outside of the rink, right? How far can you go in comedy when you are dialed in on the stage and off the stage? So it's like we never were going to be an Olympic sport. That was absolutely out of my hands. But what was in my hands was not being on opium, not drinking every night, not smoking a pack of Parliament ultralights and going to the local strip club and raves and putting Molly up my ass on a Tuesday. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at what point do you wonder how far you could have gone and how to live with that regret and forgive yourself in sobriety for those things and wondering what could have been? Because it's not helpful, but I ask myself that all the time.
You like to do things the hard way too. You can just put Molly in your mouth
It,
and you don't have to pierce your dick either. You could have started with your ear, like
yeah,
just like, geez.
yeah,
Uh,
very
the
fair.
So this last 100 days, what was the last thing was weed? Is that what you were cutting out, or were you still drinking, or what was it? What
Weed, mushrooms, Molly, everything but alcohol was the last to go.
when
What
was the last time you drank? It was a long time before that, or
a little bit before all of that. But when I went to AA the first time, a lot of the guys there were like, how long have you been like? When's the last time you drank? When's the last time? I was like, well, I stopped drinking a little bit ago, but so now I'm just doing like weed and mushrooms and Molly and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, do you want to quit that stuff? And I was like, I mean, yeah, but I'm sober. And they're like, you're not sober, dude. Like you have a very weird definition of what sober is. And I know that we probably both know people who are in AA and other things who still smoke weed,
Mhm.
but I don't know that they're doing everything except drinking and calling themselves sober. I think that's a pretty big misnomer. So now, within the last 100 days and change, I'm done with everything. Um, and alcohol is the hardest one on the road because it's everywhere we're performing. And then after shows, not getting high and having a couple drinks and things like that. I'm just eating a shitload of ice cream. I've never eaten more ice cream in my life. It's unbelievable the amount of ice cream I'm consuming. But what are you going to do? It's better than the alternative. So,
Yeah, sure. Ice cream is next on the list.
hey,
Ice cream or
it has
popcorn,
to be
man.
popcorn.
Sugar is such a motherfucker. It's so insidious. I mean, I grew up in Florida where a lot of the sugar growers are, and not only environmentally have they fucked up the Everglades because they have fertilizer runoff into the Everglades, algal blooms, different, all this kind of stuff, land and things like that. But when you look at the back of food, everything has the health guidelines on it, percentage guidelines, except for sugar. And that's not by accident. They lobbied to have that. So, because if you put the percentage of sugar, daily intake of sugar on the back of a soda can, it'd say like 3,000% or something. They would never have it on there. Um, and then it's just like I didn't eat sugar for the first any added sugar. I occasionally have a piece of fruit or something like that. Um, but I was eating mostly veggies and proteins and things like that and stuff. No bread or anything like that. And still like some carbs, but I had sugar about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I immediately was like, oh yeah, this. And it was like a couple days where I was like, it's like, get the fuck away from me. I'm doing it. It's like, but it just creeps in there, and then you just have a little taste, and you're like, well, you had that, so it's not that bad.
Right.
Little Biscoff cookie on Delta here. Come on, that's not.
Come on.
Yeah, like, and it's just in everything. So it's a real piece of shit. I mean, an ice cream container, what would that be? The daily percentage intake, that'd be like 6,000% or something.
Probably.
It's
Dude, I lived with a bodybuilder in St. Louis while I was going to college for a while. For a while, I was going to college in city and not in small towns. I transferred colleges 3 times. I struggled with college. It was hard for me to stay in. But I lived with a bodybuilder for a while, and he would do free days every month. He'd do one free day a month where he would no longer eat steamed broccoli and plain chicken and just fart all over the fucking apartment. And he used to microwave pints of Ben and Jerry and just drink them all day long like a milkshake. And it was not only the coolest thing, and I did it with him every once in a while, but it was also the gnarliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
wait, how melted does it? It's like a milkshake consistency. You microwave it so it's still thick, but like
Yeah.
not watery.
Yeah. And then you just kind of chew slash drink it,
I
because
gotta
the
tell you,
edges will keep getting more and more melted. Pretty brilliant.
that's more of like drinking a blizzard, because this might be controversial. I don't like Ben and Jerry's. I think Ben and Jerry's has too much shit in it. It's like I like a just a strawberry ice cream, or like if I'm gonna have something like some chocolate chips, or I like it like pretty. I don't like all the chunks and shit in there. It's because then there's less ice cream and more chunks because you're kind of just eating candy bars and stuff. See, I can tell by your face this is not a good take
You're
for
a
you.
No, I mean, you're a minimalist. You're an ice cream minimalist.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a minimalist in life for sure. So, so uh,
No, dude, you need a chunk, you need a swirl, and you need a base. Ben and Jerry's has it figured out.
No, they have that cone too, where like in the center, it's like there's a hard thing in the center. I'm like, the fuck's that? I just want ice cream because I don't want to have to look down all the time. What is this? It's like you're on the beach with a like a metal detector and you're like digging shit out of. Oh, it's a huge chunk of a fucking Reese's cup. I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that
Yeah,
at all. Yeah.
give me the cream.
Yeah,
Damn.
I like. I'm old school, very conservative ice cream eater.
So then, what do you prefer? Like a Haagen-Dazs, something
Yeah,
where it's just like, yeah, okay.
Haagen-Dazs or like I like gelato kind of stuff. Like they have that whatever that brand of gelato is. That's that in the clear container.
Oh, Talenti or something like
Talenti.
that.
I
Yeah.
love Talenti coconut. I'll fuck that whole shit up. It's clear and you can see in it, and it seems healthier for some reason. I don't know why, because of the clear container. Gelato is amazing, and I don't know if you've ever been to Italy, but we have been able to mimic a lot of the pastas, pizzas, things like, even though it's amazing over there, all the food's over there. But for
Hmm.
some reason, we don't do gelato the way it is done in Italy. I've been to Italy one time, and I was in Milan, and when I was eating the gelato, I was like, this is unfucking believable. And I was just eating at a gelato place, not one that was like, you got to go to this gelato. It was just a gelato place on the street. And it's like, this is insanely good. So I like that kind of stuff, like gelato, kind of like,
I can't wait. My fiance's, uh, she's Italian, fully Italian. She's like, we're going to Italy together. Like, let me show you the world, and I can't wait. So
she's
Will,
been.
she's been, yeah. So I'll report back with a gelato update because I can't wait. That
Are
sounds
you
amazing.
have a trip planned already, or you're?
No, not yet, but it's inevitable. Like she has family and roots there, so you got to go check out the roots.
Yeah, I only went to Milan. So I was on tour with Jim Jeffries. And so when I say only, it's like I was on a 5-week tour through Europe with Jim Jeffries. It was awesome. But we were in Milan. We took a train up to Lake Como just for like half a day, and it was still really amazing. But I want to go to like Tuscany and Florence and all that stuff because I am a fatty still at my core, and I will be eating like bad stuff for me again in my life. I just need to get to a more manageable weight. I'm still eating, but I mean, I want to go to um. I just skipped what I was gonna say, but I want to go and like eat like just the pasta and all that shit stuff.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Does your wife speak
my
Italian?
she's doing Duolingo right now to do it. Yeah,
Even better.
but like, yeah, because my dream is like I want to go to that small Italian village where I'm sitting there sipping espresso all day. Some grandma is rolling gnocchi with
Yeah.
her gnarled hands in the thing, and a stray dog comes running by and sits with its head in my lap. Like, I
Yeah.
want that experience. That's what I want.
By the way, I said your wife. I know you said fiance. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead for you, but
Oh man, no, we're getting married. I think we're on that track. So
okay. Uh, did you ever see Equalizer 3, by the way? The movie with Denzel?
well, yes, exactly. That's exactly what
That's
I'm talking
everything
about.
I want, by the way. In my head, because I'm not married, I don't have kids. I always I always wondered why I was never tagged to be one of those people. Like I mean, I've been woefully out of shape a big portion of my life, but I always wanted to be one of those people who are like, those organizations would spot me and be like, this guy has nobody that's looking out for him. We can train him to be an assassin or a killer or whatever
100%.
they're working for. And so when Denzel in Equalizer 3, he's basically recovering in the quaintest of Italian coastal villages, and that's exactly he sits at that cafe with whatever he does with his spoon and his tea every day. And he
Yeah,
also can kill everybody if he wants to. It's awesome.
it is. Yeah, you'd be great because they couldn't lever the bad guy can't leverage you and be like, "What? We're gonna kill your kids." You'd be like, "I don't have any. Let's go."
Yeah. I'm waiting. If anyone's listening and they want to make me, I'm even better now. I'm older, a little bit more feeble. No one would be expecting me. I can just do the keto, that stuff that old fat Steven Seagal does. He doesn't have to move his lower body much, just upper body. Just train me in that. Put me in Tuscany. We're good to go. Uh,
Oh shit.
um, so, what was I going to ask you about? Oh, so 100 days is awesome. Keep going. And the wheat. So your identity, do you talk about that? I mean, what are you going to do? Like, so you're changing up your act. I'm just rambling now. My head is still in the Equalizer 3 mode right now,
That's totally reasonable.
but, but so Is that part of, like, the recovery process, you think, to change this kinda?
Man, that's a good question. I think the what's I haven't been myself since like 14 years old, right? Like if we're just talking about purely no substances coming in and going out of me since 14, that's a long time. So like these past hundred some odd days, especially as I'm going to meetings, having a sponsor, going through the steps. I'm on step 7 right now. Yeah, earlier this week I wrote all of my defects and why I am who I am and the things I want to change about myself. And so it's like, do I want to talk about those things on stage? Sure. Do I want to trauma dump on stage? Fuck no. So it's like, how do I figure out how to? So I'm like trying to talk about my roller hockey life a bit more on stage. My dream with that would be to make a TV show from it, or a movie and talk about that time. And I just maybe be more of like a storyteller. Like fuck, what's his name? I just found him. Now I'm watching all of his specials online. He went to jail. He's a crazy funny dude. Starts with an A. I can't think of his
Oh, a
name.
comic?
Yeah. What's his
Oh,
name? Black dude starts with an A and he talks about he's an unbelievable storyteller.
yeah, I don't think it's A, it's, keep talking and I'll find it, so
Okay. But like he's my new inspiration to like tell true stories, make them entertaining, show them, perform them. And if I could get to that, then I would love to start diving into my history and things like that a bit more and not worry about having a punchline every 15 seconds the way that a lot of comedy clubs and bookers think is crucial to doing. Like that's my big thing right now is how do I stand out as a comic when a lot of the opportunities you get in this city are like, all right, go do 2 minutes, go do 3 minutes. And I'm like, right, I guess I could figure that out. But I have a great story about a strip club and roller hockey and opium that's closer to 8 and 6. So, how do I just follow my truth and follow my path and not worry about doing what I think people want, people think you have to do to succeed and, build a community. So that's kind of where I'm at.
yeah, nice. By the way, I was wrong, you were right. Ali Sadiq is here.
Ali Sadiq,
Yeah,
man, he's
he's
unbelievable.
great. Yeah, he's great.
Unbelievable. Dude,
Uh,
I feel like I'm late to the game with him, but happy to have found him because he is truly an inspirational comedian. That guy knows how to hold the fucking stage and keep you absolutely engrossed without manufacturing punchlines for the sake of getting one in there in a certain amount of time. It's just such a different type of confidence,
yeah,
you
he's
know?
great. I think he has a special out, right? So maybe you can
I'm
find him online. Ali, L-A-A-L-I, Siddiq, S-I-D-D-I-Q. He's great.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, he's telling you these stories that are, they, they're so good. You almost think they're fiction, but they're not, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, but it's from all personal experience of what he's gone through. And so it's really, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so I just to since this is and I'm just going to take the opportunity to say like what happened was after I won a gold medal and we didn't go to the Olympics, I had major hip surgery and ended up in embolism stockings and laying in a bed in my parents' house for like over a month with a machine moving my leg up and down to keep motion in it. Because if I put any, they popped my hip out of the socket and then shaved the sides and the top down so that it would fit because I'd played so long. There was all this scar tissue and all this calcium buildup. And so the hip bone was rubbing against the socket like this nonstop and just shooting pain up my arm or up my body. And so they popped it out, shaved it, shaped it, popped it back in, and then I had to stay at home. And I took pain pills for a little while because I needed to get over the pain. And then one night, while I was on crutches and in embolism stockings and staples in my leg, I went with my friends to a house party because I was like, I got to get the fuck out of my parents' house. And I took one bong rip and all the constipation and all of the shit that was inside me because I couldn't take a shit because of all the pain pills. And I just destroyed this dude's bathroom
Oh
at
no.
this house party. And then I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And so then I went back home and I was like, no more pain pills, none of this. But I didn't know what to do with myself because I was no longer playing hockey. I didn't know who I was anymore. So then it got really intense. And then my time in Chicago was, nonstop drinking, trying to figure out comedy, partying, sitting on the train, drinking a bottle of scotch, then going to an open mic, going to Second City, all these crazy things. And now I do stand up for a living, but I feel like I'm a goalie again because I just traded one crease for another. Like I just traded being in a goal, protecting, saving, creating opportunity for everyone else to feel good and take a win. And now I go on stage and I feel like I'm back in a goal wearing protective armor, hoping everyone has a great time. So it's weird to have just like not changed at all when it comes to like what I think my God given talents are and where I'm most comfortable. The difference is that now I'm doing it clear headed and sober, and I'm not trying to bury all that pressure, pain, and chaos and energy under the guise of partying and being an artist and being like, in outer space. And that's the way to do it. So it's
Yeah.
weird. It's
Yeah,
real
it's great.
fucking weird.
Oh,
Anyway, that was
good.
another run on sentence to
It
throw in
wasn't
there.
anywhere you couldn't touch that other one. That other one's elite that you did. Uh, all right, let's do 8 lucky questions.
Yeah, man.
What's a small thing someone did that helped you more than they know?
Oh, dude. My third week, I go to this meeting on Tuesdays. I go to mostly men's meetings. And the third week, this dude, I don't think he'd mind me saying his name. His name's Horace. He grabs me after the meeting and he goes, "Hey, man, get out of the back of quit sitting in the back of the meeting with your hoodie up and your arms crossed. If you want to do this, get in here. We want to get to know you. Lean the fuck in and sit with us in the front and participate." And I was like, "Heard. Okay." And so he's the one who kind of kicked my ass to not be too cool for this thing. And that was awesome.
Nice. I thought you said Forrest was his name. Okay. I thought it was almost my name. I'm like, are you fucking with me? Um, what song best describes your addiction?
I'm not an addict. I thought about that one. Do you know that song? I should have looked up who
Wow.
sings it. There's a song called
I can look it
I'm
up.
Not an Addict, but Baby, That's a Lie. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I think that sticks up.
I'm not an act song. Kay's Choice.
Hayes Choice. Okay. Yeah.
I've never even heard of any of this. Like
Oh, the lyrics are pretty perfect.
it looks like she's on a bus or something in the video. I don't know. Not an Addict is
Interesting.
a song by Belgian rock band Kay's Choice from their second studio album, Paradise and Me. 96 throwback.
Throwback.
Cool. I got to
Yeah.
check that out.
Check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a big, yeah, that could be a song that describes everyone's addiction. Everyone says that at some point, but I'm not an addict.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah, I got this. Just takes
What?
one more big run and I'm going to be back on track, right?
Yeah. Are you talking about gambling? Yeah. Cause for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Just one, not even a run, just one win, one big win. What's the dumbest excuse you've ever told yourself to justify your addiction?
Nothing is real. None of this exists. So what's the difference?
Little nihilism.
Look, big. Oh, I'm a huge fan of nihilism.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. That's like it's another product of not having any kids or wife or anything. I'm always like, whatever. World will burn down. Who cares? But now I got a dog. So, but once, no. Yeah. None
Yeah,
of it
man.
matters. We're in the matrix.
Right.
What do you think is the worst addiction?
I used to think it would be like a substance like a heroin, a fentanyl or something. I think it's ego, man. I think it's fucking ego. I think that has absolutely been so beneficial and then it's so harmful. Like I can be the best hockey goalie, I can be the best on stage, I can get a standing ovation in a sold out show and headline it. But the moment I think I'm bigger than myself or anything, the moment my ego actually is making decisions for me, I'm fucking toast. I'm toast. I think ego is the worst one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was gonna say for sure, but there's no, like I always say, there's no right answer to these. But I yeah, social media, that's become that. That's everybody kind of, not everybody, but the people that are on social media see themselves as being a failure if they're not successful on there. This whole thing, like I'm just doing this to get views or followers or get some stat. And that's people, and maybe I would be doing it if I wasn't a comic, but people that are on social media that aren't in the entertainment, that don't need to be, to promote their product. I don't know why they're on there because
Yeah.
if I could delete all those apps from my phone tomorrow, I would like to think I would, but it just feeds this ego negatively on there, because I've done it as a comic too. I'm like, well, why aren't I'm funny. This is a good clip. Why aren't people looking at this? Why am I not selling tickets? Like all that crap that really
Yep.
tears your whole psyche down. What one word would you use to describe your addiction?
Gluttonous.
Yeah, there it
Yeah.
is. 7. If callback to the number
Hey,
7.
100%. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
An
What
absolutely black hole of gluttony, without a doubt.
what one word would you use to describe your recovery?
Honest, I guess, would be the word. I've never been more honest in my I know we started this where it's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm a liar," but I've never been more honest in my life than uh, probably starting about 2 years ago, leading but especially now that I am, like, as clear-headed as I've ever been, man. Honesty is so freeing. It's so great. I fucking it's awesome. I can't express enough what it's like to not have to, like, worry about anything because 'cause I'm just being as honest as I can be.
Yeah, it's and again, I can only speak to my own addiction, but the amount of lies upon lies that I've had to say for my addiction, like tell, like to keep track of and things like that it's almost as exhausting as all the 2 days that I'd stay up gambling or this, or it's just like it's part of it too. But yeah, once you tell yourself you're gonna be honest with everything, it really is freeing and like a big weight off your shoulder. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great answer. What's your proudest moment in recovery so far?
Um, man, probably just step 1 of AA is, like, admitting that your life is unmanageable and you're powerless, and a lot of people in these meetings have said, like, "If you can admit that, then everything else will come," and I do think, looking myself dead to rights in the eye and being like, "This is unsustainable, I wanna kill myself." I am, like, so close to killing myself that it is shocking how little I give a fuck about the actual act of doing that. I've fully disassociated and I'm ready to do it. And so that is about as unmanageable as I can think of for myself. And so I think just the act of going to a meeting, admitting that I need help, um, getting rid of my ego that says you can handle anything, you're a man, you're tough, you can deal with it all. You're the equalizer. You've got this. Is a real profound um, lack of protection, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what's the worst advice someone gave you while you were struggling?
Get over it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Get over it. Come on, dude. Let's go. Get over it.
shake it
Fuck.
off.
Shake it off. Uh huh.
And lastly, what advice do you have for someone that is struggling?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not good at I don't even trust advice, if I'm going to be honest. Anyone who gives advice is talking about what worked for them. Trust your gut. That's my advice. Trust your gut. You already know a lot of the answers. And if you can actually face them, then you're on your way to whatever that reality is.
Be honest with yourself, right? That's
Be
the
honest with yourself. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's not advice though. You didn't give that advice. That was me
Fuck
saying
no.
that. Mike Glazer, thanks for being here. Again, go ahead and find Mike Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo on Instagram and YouTube. and at Glazer jokes. What do you have your finger over your mouth
Can
for?
I just pitch the thing I'm most passionate? I mean, come see me on the road and
Oh yeah, of
all
course.
that.
Please,
But
that's
like,
beginning.
I have a TikTok account called Under the Denver Airport where I pretend to be a CIA intern and I tell the news, the real news from under the Denver airport. And it's my secret TikTok. And I love it so much. And I just talk about cloning and 9/11 and how they're making seedless fruit so that everything we get doesn't have seeds, so we can't grow our own fruits and vegetables. And one day they'll monopolize the idea of us being able to grow anything ourselves. And so, if you want to really check out something I'm passionate about, go to Under the Denver Airport on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. I'll put that link because I put all the links in there. Um, I'm sorry I didn't see it before, but
It's a secret, it's not something it's hard because I want to sell tickets, and unless you want to come see me be a CIA intern, I'm not sure how it translates to
uh,
seeing me perform live.
is that why you had the that's why you tried to do the CIA on the other
Mm,
one? Is that why you tried the? Is this like part of that whole?
That was just because they let me change my name, and I was like, I can't believe this is possible. I'm going to do it, and I'm obsessed with the CIA. I think it's fascinating. But don't become the CIA. It's a mistake. It'll only hurt you.
All right. Well, thanks again for being here, Mike. I'll talk to you later. Thanks again to Mike Glazer for being on the podcast. As always, he mentioned at the end, feeling suicidal. If you're feeling suicidal, not that he was suicidal, he's at a moment in his life, just to be clear. But if you're feeling suicidal, feeling shitty, call the suicide and crisis hotlines in the US 988, Canada 988. Wikipedia page list of suicide crisis lines for the crisis line or helplines in your country. I will talk to you guys next week. I'm off to Maui. Love y'all.